All right, so we're starting our Socratic Seminar, and what you need is your text, and every kid or student should make a question that they'll want to bring up that is important to the text. So our first essential question is, what impact do sports have on kids?
Okay, so I think that sports have a positive impact on kids because, as you can tell in the text from Brian, he really enjoys sports and he seems to really have fun while doing them.
Okay, but on the negative side, what would happen if sports get in the way with friendships? Because with Emma and Jamal, in the second passage, we see that they kind of argue because they're both fighting for that starting spot as a shortstop. Even though it all works out in the end, there's conflict between them that can hurt their friendship.
That could also end up like building their friendship, though. You know, because like now they've had that, and they're both telling each other how, oh, I hope you get it, I hope you get it. So maybe now that like neither of them have it, like maybe that was a growing point for them too. So like now they can both respect and like be happy for each other.
That's really good.
I agree with you, Elizabeth. I agree.
It shows really good sportsmanship for kids too.
Yeah, it builds that sportsmanship and it also shows a drive. You know, they have a goal to be the shortstop, so they push for it. They want that. And even if they don't get it, they learn how to fall back and go back into baseball and get a new position.
Yeah, it teaches kids proper coping skills, things like that. It really, even though they might be disappointed at first, it really teaches them to like get over the disappointment and really become like a better person through that.
What like attributes do you think that sports help develop? Like, what do you think? Do they make them happier? Do they make them more driven, like McKenna said, other stuff like that?
I think it helps them in a lot of ways on the positive side. It helps them work as a unit, so as a team, and it helps them figure out that even if you're down, like ways to come back. So it helps like their processing skills and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Teaches them like work ethic. Yeah, like how to work with other groups of people, like how to not do things on your own, but then again also how to like be responsible and get things done on your own and like be like more driven than you are normally.
I see how it could teach teamwork, but it could also teach independence, just from knowing that each person on your team is depending on you to do a certain job. It really teaches you that you're working as a team, but then you should also try and do your job as efficiently as possible to help out everyone. So it teaches both teamwork and independence.
Right, and I agree with that, and I think that is going to help them out later in life. Like whenever they get a job, they're going to be expected to go there every single day, just like in sports. You know, they have to be committed to it.
Yeah.
And it also kind of gives them a passion that they can do, and that also goes with your future, having a passion with a career or anything like that. And it also can provide friends for life, like with the teammates. Oftentimes they end up being some of your best friends. They're people who you really connect with. So it can kind of build those friendships that last forever.
Yeah, and along with that, like not only friendships, but like memories. Like in here she says how like baseball was coming when ice drops from the roof, or when the tulips were poking through. So like for the rest of her life, she's gonna associate like these seasons and these things with like the sport that she grew up loving, which in turn brings back all the memories that she had as a child. So it's like she's gonna have these things for the rest of her life, and I think that's really important for kids to have.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of ties in with the authors. Why did the author write this story? She wrote it because she had great memories of baseball, watching her dad play it. Is what she said. One of her earliest memories is crawling under the player's bench as my dad got up at bat. So she did that because that was her passion, that was her memory, and that's why she wrote these.
Yeah, I think she wanted to show how important baseball was to her through a story of another person. And in turn, this makes it more relatable because a lot of kids love sports, like Emma loves baseball, and it helps kids relate to this because they might love football as much as Emma does, or they might love soccer as much as Emma does, or softball or other sports like that.
Yeah, I think it helps show like a person's like passion and like shows that it's okay to go after it whenever you're young and like it's okay to enjoy it.
And with, also sports can help kids to encourage them to be fit, be healthy. Besides just sports, are there just you know, you don't always have to be in a sport necessarily, but are there activities that you can do outside of just being in the sport that you can stay healthy, stay fit, but they can also be your passion?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so are we gonna jump to another question? So, based on the short story, Brian gets fit on the field. Do you think that Brian will make the baseball team?
Yeah, I think he will, based on the last paragraph where it says Brian was ready when he was up at bat. Crack, he hit the ball very far. So I think that means that he's going to have a good season and that he will go far and make the team.
Yeah. Also, it says he had done his best. I mean,
Yeah.
just doing the best that you can, putting that max effort into it, usually pays off.
Yeah, definitely. I think coaches really take that into account, you know, like showing that you are doing your best.
So,
In the There's Nothing Like Baseball story, what do you guys think would have happened if, like, Emma or Jamal would have gotten the shortstop position instead of Nikki? Like, would that have affected their friendship, do you think? Or would they be happy for each other?
I think it would have affected their friendship. Their friendship at the beginning, there definitely would have been some strain on it. But over time, it could fix itself and go back to how it used to be. But I definitely feel like there would be some conflict there in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that building off of what you said, there will definitely be a lot of strain and a lot of that. But since they both wanted that position really well, and they're both really good friends, they're able to say, okay, well, I'm glad you got it. And they're able to work past that and really get to a good spot in their friendship again.
Yeah. And I think almost like something like that happening could, let's see, Emma got what, second base instead?
Yes.
So let's say Jamal would have got shortstop. So that would have allowed Emma to strengthen her position. Like, it would have allowed her to, like, broaden her horizons and find something that she actually maybe was really, really good at, but she never would have known if she would have got shortstop. So maybe, like, things like that can affect the whole course of the rest of, like, their life and stuff.
Yeah.
And their friends are there to support them.
and they're obviously supportive of each other because Emma, you know, was like, I want this shortstop's position, but you can see kind of this conflict in her mind, how this internal conflict where she's like, do I actually want this position? Because if I get it, that means my friend Jamal doesn't get it,
Right.
and he wanted it. So she cares what Jamal gets because she wants him to do well also.
Exactly, and on page 278, Emma and Jamal are talking, and Emma said, I asked Jamal about the tryouts for our positions. Who do you think will be shortstop? I don't know, he says. I hope it's you, I say. Jamal says, I hope it's you, Emma. But I don't say the thing I want most in the world is to be starting shortstop. So Emma is genuinely concerned about, like, they care for each other a lot. And they want the best for each other. So their friendship, yeah, like you guys have said before, their friendship might be tainted in the first part, but in the long run, it will get better.
Yeah, and I feel like Jamal probably was like having the same conflict in his head like that Emma was. I feel like he was like, oh man, he's like, you know, I want her to get it, but I also really wanted it, but I don't want our friendship to be hurt. So I feel like they were on the same page.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps the situation too. Helps turn it around afterwards.
Think of a place in pop culture where you see this evident, like in There's Nothing Like Baseball with Emma and Jamal.
I can connect it to, I saw a movie recently, it's a Disney movie called Coco, and
Love that movie.
it's a very good movie. And the main character says that he like really wants to be a musician, and he goes through this whole plot of wanting to be a musician, but at the end of the thing, he realizes that family is more important to him, and that he should always treasure what he has instead of going out for extrinsic things, such as like being a musician, stuff like that.
That's a good point. I agree with you. I feel like after he goes to the land of the dead, he just wants what's best for his family, and he knows that being there for his family is what's best for him instead of chasing after what he wants, which is being a musician.
Yeah, and I mean we can kind of like hope and like infer that maybe that's how Emma and Jamal would work out in the end of it. Like if one of them were to get it, like they would both realize like, hey, this is what's best for them. Like I can find something better. Like I can then like and hope that that friend would help them, you know, get get to that next
Their
part.
friendship is more important
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the competition that
Right.
they have, which the competition can be like a healthy competition that they have. They want that position, it might give them more drive. But ultimately, their friendship is what stands.
So, like, if they don't understand a certain part of the story, then they can ask another classmate and see if another classmate picked up on that or if they knew the answer, so then they can have their question answered.
Yeah, write in the text. If you're confused about something, underline it. Write a question next to it. Write in the margins. Or if you see a quote that catches your eye in the text that you want to talk about, underline it and you'll know that you talk about that at the seminar.
Or even if you see like a part in the text that like reminds you of something in your own life, then you can like circle it and like mark off what it reminds you of.
Right. And like when people answer those questions or like you talk about experience that you had that are like related to it, like that not only gives you like a different perspective and like their view, and then that allows like you to build off of that and create something completely different out of it too.
And like what you said, writing in the margins and stuff, writing questions is usually something that's really helpful because chances are if you have the question, someone else has the question.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, nobody should be scared to ask their question because there's no right or wrong answer. It's just an open discussion. And like what you said, there's chances are that somebody else is going to be thinking the same thing that you're thinking.
So you don't need to be embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And plus, like, sometimes that bridges it into like a really great discussion if you ask those questions.
That's sometimes how you can bring people in. You can connect it with somebody else. You can take a question and say, you know, I know you did this. I know you're a baseball player. You know, what do you think? How has baseball impacted you? Type of thing.
Yeah, they shouldn't be afraid to really have a conversation because this is a very personal thing. It's not like you have to have a certain set behavior, a certain set of questions. You can discuss. It can be a conversation. You can just go wherever the conversation takes you.
Who are your favorite teammates to have in something like this? Do you want someone who thinks the same way as you?
No.
You want different thinkers.
You want people that challenge your points of view and make sure that you can defend your argument to the death, and you stand firm in what you believe in and try not to change your opinion unless they're a really good arguer. Then you might change your opinion.
Yeah.
That's how you have the best discussions,
Yeah.
is with other points of view.
It's a lot more fun that way. Talking with someone that thinks the exact same way as you, like, sometimes, you know, obviously, like, you want that because you want people to agree with you. And it's, like, good to have people in the circle that are on the same page because they can help you defend yourself. But it's really boring if you just have a bunch of people that agree.
It's a one-sided conversation.
Yeah.
You're talking
Because you
with yourself.
Exactly. It's way more fun to have different points of view.
How do you build up this trust where everyone feels safe and you can tell that the whole group appreciates it when people bring up good ideas?
I think it just comes with practice. So, like, we've been doing this for a while, and it's just we've done these together so many times that we're just more comfortable with each other, and we know we can say things, and we know how to build off of each other, and so those turn into really good discussions.
Yeah.
But it comes easy once you
Yeah.
start doing it with each other. Like after
Yeah.
the first time, you'll like be able to do it.
Yeah, and it's really just like having a sense of like, okay, these people are gonna have different opinions than me. Like, I can't let that like change my opinion on them. Like, this is a discussion. Like, it's fine. We're all gonna disagree sometimes. Like, you just have to respect each other
Yeah.
and understand that like we're not all the same, and that's okay. And it's more fun that way. So
The main thing to keep in mind is just respect.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're not talking to other people who aren't talking, build off other people's points. Just really just have a respect for everyone else in the group, and it just really comes naturally after that.
How did you guys feel whenever you would do a Socratic seminar and then write about it? Like, we might discuss things, especially those of you like I'm remembering in my reading class, eventually you would respond.
Well, it gives you some more ideas to write about, so then you have more ideas to build off of while you're writing it.
yeah, because you can go in with like your point of view and be like, so this is what I thought, but my classmates opened me up to these ideas, and this is what I think about them, and this is how I understand what they were saying, and I see where they're coming from, stuff like that.
And plus, like, it helps you reflect for the next time you do a Socratic seminar, and you see like what went well, what didn't go so well, so then you can fix everything for the next time and make it even better.
And it also helps for the kids that were scared to talk. You know, that's their moment for input. You know, maybe if they didn't want to say it out loud, they'll write it down and they can give the teacher a perspective on what they were thinking. and to show that they were like developing and like thinking deep.
It really just makes you a better rider overall. I mean, it just makes you more of an inclusive rider. You add points of view of another person over here, mixed in with your own points of view. It really creates a more inclusive piece that you wrote.
Can young students do this? Say second grade students, first grade students, can they do this?
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
I think that if they are old enough to have a conversation with each other, then yes. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
just talking with people.
Yeah.
It's only a conversation, and
Yeah.
you just respect the people you're talking to.
Mhm.
Yeah.